Hello guys, welcome back to another Rebels podcast, a podcast for all small businesses out there. I talk about real, honest things, and this podcast we have our first ever guest, which is Dellie from Dellie's Designs, and we are going to be talking about running a business with chronic health conditions. We both have different kind of things, obviously with me, I've not got that at the moment because of surgery, but yours are more permanent. And I thought it would be really nice to sit down and talk about the ways we kind of manage our business with it, because I know a lot of you from the comments that I've had also experience chronic health conditions, and I thought it'd be a really nice little episode to kind of dive deep and just chat about all small businesses with chronic health conditions. So Dellie, you don't talk about this loads, do you?
No. So I will talk about it. I'm always happy to talk about it. Like, if it helps someone, I'll talk about it. But I don't like it to be like the forefront of the business. Like, it's the reason I started, but it's not something I like to keep right at the front as like a sympathy vote in some way.
We were talking about it the other day. We don't necessarily want to advocate. Like, our business isn't about our chronic health conditions, is it? Our business is stationary, cute, whatever we do, that's our business. However, I think I've spoken more about my endo when I was going like in the thick of it.
Yes.
But we don't
more
make
as like
it
a relatable thing, though, because this is like, rather than brushing over it, it's like, I'm dealing with this right now.
Yeah.
And this is affecting business.
Exactly.
So I'll talk about it. Same with me. If I'm going through a flare up or something, then I'll talk about it because it's affecting the way I'm running my business right now.
Yeah, and you got to and it's nice to let people know why you are a certain way, why you haven't been seen online for a little bit, or why you're not feeling like 100%. This is the reason why kind of thing, isn't it? Okay, amazing. So I'm going to ask first, can you maybe tell us what your chronic health conditions are?
Okay, so I have chronic fatigue syndrome, also known as ME. I can't remember the full name. It's got a long name.
Why do they make it confusing?
I don't know.
It's like with dyslexia. Like, why spell it like that? I've got dyslexia. Like, you're making it really hard to write it down.
Yeah, I know. For anyone that knows the condition, you'll know exactly what I mean by ME. But I often refer to it as CFS, which is chronic fatigue syndrome.
Yeah.
And also fibromyalgia, which is a much more well-known kind of.
I don't know exactly what that is.
What, fibromyalgia?
Yeah, like what is it? What happens to your body?
So I think it's hard to kind of put it into a box because I think everybody is so different with it. So I can't put it into a box. But for me, the fibromyalgia gives me a lot more pain. So I have these kind of areas of my body that even sometimes hugging people can be hard. Sitting in certain chairs can be hard because of the pressure on the side, specifically at the size of my thighs, size of my arms. It's like... I believe it's like an issue with the soft tissue or the way that your body communicates pain levels through your body. Like, it's a miscommunication essentially. But fibromyalgia, I personally relate to more of the pain, and then the chronic fatigue to fatigue and exhaustion, brain fog, all that kind of stuff. But they do cross over quite a lot. But I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome when I was 13.
Wow, okay.
I think 13, so I was in like year 8 at school. It was really hard. We'll probably dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But and then I was diagnosed with the fibromyalgia after a few years of kind of, when I started getting the pains in my body, like the pressure, like even just like this can hurt like most of the time.
Really sensitive.
Really sensitive. Like, that came maybe 6 or 7 years later.
Okay.
But I think it was developing over time because I haven't always had these issues.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so let us know in the comments if you are someone that struggles with this as well, and maybe if you feel comfortable with talking about what kind of things that your bodies like go through, because like you said, it can be so different with other people.
Yeah, maybe if it helps someone else that's listening to not feel alone with their symptoms,
and maybe
if
it's someone else listening being like, oh my gosh, this is what I experience. Or maybe it's something, because like I've said before, if it wasn't for Alicia, who's another fellow small business, I would not have even thought about endometriosis.
Yeah.
But because she saw the signs.
Yeah, it's like, Becc, you need to.
Yeah.
Look
And it's like
this.
the word of mouth. But obviously, that's only if you feel comfortable to.
Yeah.
Can I ask about the things that you struggle with your chronic health conditions, running your business? Have there been, can you kind of pinpoint the things you've got to be careful to do and what you kind of don't do as much and stay away from?
So I think I've got quite good at the whole business thing in terms of my abilities.
Yeah.
But like I do find that I really struggle if I put too much stress on myself, because when I take a mental load, it really kind of affects physical body as well.
Yeah.
So I find that like I went through this stage of, and everyone does it regardless of health conditions, like comparison. And I was comparing myself to people that didn't have chronic health conditions, and I was like, why can't I, work as many hours as they do? Or like, I don't know, that the comparison, like, it made me quite unwell, to be honest, because I was stressing over it.
Yeah, so much.
And when I kind of took a step back and realised everybody's cards are different, like some people are able to put hours and hours a day in, but they could also be, they might not be sharing everything, like you can't just see that and think that's how it is.
Yeah.
But like some people have children, some people have chronic health conditions, some people have other jobs on top of working small businesses and things like that. So I think that was the hardest part for me, was the comparison bug, really, and just kind of getting too deep in there and like really putting myself in a negative headspace, which then of course was taking a toll on the physical health. But like in terms of things in business, like I can't sit for too long, like at the desk. Like I have to make sure I'm moving. Like, so I can't stand for too long. I can't sit for too long, like kind of adjusting things like that. But I'm not sure if there's anything that kind of, well, it's very easy to give yourself too much, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
When you've got a to-do list this long, you're like, right, I'm just going to get as much as I done as I can. But sometimes I just need to be like, Adele, you need to think literally here, because you're going to wipe yourself out. Like, it's great that you can kick a launch out in 2 weeks, but what if you can't do anything for a month afterwards? Is that really worth it? Like, how about you extend that time to, even though you could do another launch in the time that you've done one, if you've looked after yourself in the process, you're going to have a much better launch
and experience doing it as well,
rather than being dead after.
100%.
We can relate the question back to you as well, like,
oh yeah, true, that's true.
Like
so
things that you find hard.
So I obviously it's really weird talking about it now, because my life is so much better after surgery. However, I think going through endo, so for me, endo was the fatigue, very, very hard.
I remember that.
Oh God, and it got to a point where I think I just needed to lie down a lot of the time. My issue, one of my issues was my hip. So my hip, the pain would cause like sciatica pain, and I couldn't move properly. And then of course when I came on my period, that's when all the contraction pains started, and they were very, very debilitating. And it was just, but going through that has taught me, just because I'm better right now, obviously with endo, it most of the time does return. I think it's very, very rare that it doesn't. I might be that rare case. That would be great.
It's
however,
better to prepare yourself rather than think you're fixed.
So at the moment I'm enjoying it all, but what it's really taught me is to, even though, because if you're watching this, sorry if you hear Bryn, of course he's barking, if you're watching this and you don't struggle with any chronic health conditions, it's still important for you to implement these things into your life and your business life, because
take care of yourself in the best way you can.
It's taught me to be like, if I wake up one day and I'm just not feeling well, if I've got a cold, or if I am just tired that day and I'm like, I mentally can't do anything today, then I don't. So it has taught me that, and I think this just applies to anyone and everyone,
because life makes you think it's go, isn't it? You have to be on to the next thing, you have to be achieving the next thing, regardless if it's small business or not. Like, just life in general is like, oh, when are you booking your next holiday, when are you doing this, when are you doing that, like all of these kind of to-do lists in life. And it's like, actually, why don't we just enjoy the quiet if we're able to enjoy it, you know? Like
100%.
enjoy the moment. Like there's nothing wrong with chilling out, like regardless of your health. Like you're allowed to take time to chill out.
And human beings get stressed. Human beings get tired.
And we're not meant to go all the time. That's why we find it hard, because we're not meant to do it.
Exactly. So if you are watching this and you're not, you know, like I said, haven't got chronic health conditions, it doesn't stop you from looking after yourself, and it doesn't stop you from being like, okay, I'm not feeling it today. Today is just not my day. And maybe it's also okay for you to go, okay, today I'm just going to lie on my sofa, watch something on TV and do admin work or draw or crochet or
something
whatever.
That brings you joy.
Yeah. Or like, because even if you want to work, but you don't want to come into your workspace, if you're lucky enough to have this privilege, we're talking more for small businesses that, you know, have their own little space. But even if like, because like we were talking earlier, when I started this business, my space was my dining table in my kitchen. So it's, even if you're like that, if you have a section in your house where it's the dining table in the kitchen, it's still important for you to go, do you know what, I'm going to go to my sofa and just maybe work from there, and or just not work at all.
Because even just coming into a space, it can overwhelm you instantly, because if you've got a long to-do list, if you're able to take some of that to-do list and do it somewhere else, so that you're not sat here with everything you could be doing, it's just going to kind of relieve some of that stress.
100%. Can I ask what you have done or implemented to make your life better and working life better with your chronic health conditions?
I think going back to kind of what I said before, I think first of all kind of just accepting that things are different for me, like, and just doing what I can. So like allowing myself to have more breaks, allowing myself to just switch off a bit more. Like, because I feel like obviously I want to do my bit at home and I want to bring in the money and things like that, but I always need to remind myself of why I started my business, and that really helps me implement the right things. Because I started the business not to make money, to kind of like, and obviously I did start to make money, that's a bit silly to say, isn't it really? But like, it wasn't to like bring in loads of money, it was to do my bit to like at home, but also to fulfill myself and give myself something that brought me so much joy. And like, if I push myself too much, I'm going to put myself into a really negative health space, and that business is no longer bringing me joy, because it's actually bringing me pain and fatigue. Like, it's really hard. So often I have to be like, why did you start, Adele? Like, and think about it, and think about myself before I did do it as well. Like the serious health, I mean, I've had some since, but the serious like health lows and things. And if I don't look after myself, like I had a part-time job that I was working, it was meant to be like twice a week, but it was always once a week for 4 hours. And my life revolved around working in a call centre for 4 hours a week. That's not looking after myself.
No.
Like, so I just think about how rubbish I felt doing this job that I hated. So why would I kind of put the pressure on myself within something that I love and make myself feel rubbish? You know? Like, it's just kind of hitting myself on the head, like, to be like, Adele, you want to keep this long term. How am I gonna, you know, taking breaks and not worrying about the next launch until I feel inspired to do so, like not panicking about the time frames as much, and just going with the flow and going with the flow of my body, and not having to apologize because I haven't launched something for 6 months. You know, like that's literally me this year. Is I had a really great beginning of 2024 health wise, and I was doing, you know, my drawing challenge and things like that, and I went to Stationery Fest and I wiped myself out for months and for so long. I think part of the reason it took me a while to get over it as well is putting pressure on myself. I was like, I need to get back in the studio and I need to think of the next collection. I need to do this, that and the other. And then when I stepped back and was like, I'm just going to have to ride this wave. This is a bad wave and I've got to let it do its thing. As soon as I kind of let that happen, Life is What You Bake It happened. And it was the best collection I've ever done.
I know.
So it's like having that, it's just giving me tingles.
It's just proof, isn't it? It's proof that, like,
looking after yourself brings the best outcome.
100%. And that, it's taken me years to learn that. So hopefully if you're watching this and you're just starting your business, or you've been at it for a while, and this again applies to everyone and anyone, like, just taking those moments to rest and chill when you can, which I know can be really hard, because I remember, like, I've quit Starbucks now. Like, I do this full time. That's been a dream from the start, and it's taken me six and a half years.
Yeah.
But there'll be people on here that run their business alongside a full-time job, alongside a part-time job, alongside being a mum, alongside having chronic health conditions. And you can sometimes, I remember watching these kind of things and being like, yes, but try and not, because that makes you feel even worse. Like I said to you, I've been listening to Miranda Hart's audiobook.
I need to
you do, because she's so right. Our mental state can really affect our physical state. So she used to be like, with her chronic health condition, she would be like, I can't do it because of the X, Y, and Z, which then ends up making your body feel even worse. It was like, I talked to people about when I found out that I had suspected endometriosis. It felt like all the pain started to get worse, because I knew it was that. So I was telling my brain, sometimes it was debilitating and I couldn't do it. But sometimes I would be there like, I can't do that because I've got this, when I wouldn't even try if I could do it with it. Does that make sense?
This actually reminds me of something Aaron said to me once, and he was like, I'd always be like, I can't do it because of this, and I'd get so angry and frustrated at my body. And he's like, you can do it. It's just going to take you a little bit longer.
Yes.
Like, it's not we can do everything. We just have to do it in a way that works for us.
Yeah.
Like, he always said, like, you can run a marathon. Obviously, he wouldn't advise it. You can run a marathon. It's just going to take you longer than a day.
Yeah.
You can do a bit here, and then you can wait a bit, and you can do a bit here. And, like, obviously, a marathon is just kind of a metaphor for other things. 100%. But, like, you can do it. You just have to do it in accordance to your body and your allowances, you know, and everybody's situation is so different. It's like, you know, I can say that, I can go and spend a day on the sofa. I don't have children. I don't have those responsibilities. And I really feel for those people that do have chronic illness alongside having children.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And that responsibility to take care of them, like, that's got to be so hard. Like, I can't even imagine it. But, like, you've just got to do what you can in that time. It just
means that your path or your journey will just take a little bit longer. And that's something that once you come to terms with, and I've spoken about this so many times, once you come to terms with your journey and your path with life and your business, it gets better because you've accepted that this is mine. And I think I say it all the time because I think it's just so true. Like, when I realised that, okay, got a part-time job, I've got this chronic health condition, that's just me. So I will get there at some point, not sure when, but it will happen. And it happened a lot sooner than I actually, well, to be honest, I ended up not knowing when it was going to happen because I didn't put that pressure on myself to be like, I need to, because I used to put that pressure on myself. I remember a couple years back doing like a end of year goals video on YouTube, which I don't do anymore.
I don't set myself goals often. No,
I don't do it because it puts too much pressure on myself.
And then it also ends whatever the good thing was in a negative headspace if you didn't reach it.
Exactly.
Which then takes a
toll. And I remember saying, next year I'm going to quit my job. And I remember going into that year, and I went from 3 days a week down to 2.
I remember this.
And I could, and then I realised I can't afford that with my business. So I had to go back up to 3. And then the year later, here I am, not working there anymore. So it was like, as soon as I was like, that's fine, this is my path, if I have to go back up to 3,
I have to accept it.
Just have to accept it. And then, so I think if you're watching this and you just need to be like, okay, it may take me a little bit longer, and that's okay.
It's such a switch, isn't it? Once you actually accept that things are different, changes everything.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Okay, well, I was just going to ask for, like, tips on things that you kind of put in place. Because also I want to talk about with people, because we mentioned it earlier about the whole events. So like when I had to stop conventions because it was flaring me up like crazy, and going to these things are draining when you haven't got chronic health conditions, right? So when you have, you really, and I wasn't as bad as you. I know you take a lot longer to kind of come back. But I remember that feeling, like after the conventions and after Stationery Fest, even this year, because I still had endo at this year's Stationery Fest.
Yeah.
I had to be prepared to be like, you're gonna have to take a few days off.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, it was a lot longer. So people obviously vary, but obviously this year was different because you haven't done, the year before you didn't do Stationery Fest or Southwest Plan event. So this year was your first year with your business, with your chronic health conditions, doing events like that. Yeah. What would you do next year to make yourself a bit more prepared and ready for your body to be like, do you know what I mean? It's
like before or like
both,
the whole thing?
The whole thing.
Okay. So firstly, I'm definitely I work quite well under pressure. So when the time frame is coming up, I'm very bad at putting jobs to the point of the like where it kicks in, like I've got to get this done. I often put them off because I know I do them better when I'm under pressure.
Okay, love that.
So I put
them
off.
Be like that.
So I would actually like I need to be more prepared. Like rather than saying like, oh, I'll wait till like a week before, I need to be doing like little things like, right, someone's ordered a sticker. I need to make that sticker. Why don't I print 3 sheets? Because then they're there and I have them and I don't need to make them on the Cricut machine, which, by the way, if you have a Cricut machine, you'll know the stress that they can put you under sometimes, or even the silhouettes and things like that.
All sticker machines.
They can put you under so much stress. Yeah. So like you've left everything till last minute and then the sticker machine messes up and you're like, ah, and that's just the stress you didn't need. So like I said to Aaron as well, like I just need to be more kind of logical next year, and like if I can be prepared 3 months in advance, be prepared 3 months in advance, like because that sticker, like for example, especially if it's a sticker that doesn't get ordered very often, why don't I just make a few of them and then I could just put them in the box ready to go, or like
and you can feel like the relief of when that day comes, because what you really want at events, what's like the perfect thing I think is you go, okay, Stationery Fest is next week, get the boxes out, boom, everything's in, we're ready.
Yeah, because this is what I had for because I over prepared for Stationery Fest, Southwest Planner Club, and then I had a market a couple of weeks ago. I had stuff left from Stationery Fest, and I was like the night before popping it in the box. The dream. Easy stuff. So that's definitely something I know would make my life easier and not have as much of an impact on my body, is being prepared and not leaving everything till last minute, because I know I work well under pressure, but I don't have to. Do you know what I mean? Like I could be more prepared and just kind of ease myself into going and stuff like that.
Definitely. What about when you're at the event? Because when I was going through flare-ups through the event, it's because I'm standing up all the time, out of choice, because I can't
sit either.
No,
I need to be present with someone that's at my table. And Stationery Fest was constant,
and you get people like followers and supporters coming up to you, and it's just so exciting, and the adrenaline and everything. It's hard, isn't it? What do you think you could? Well, do you know what, really, I say that we could implement? It might actually be really nice for events in the future where they give everyone that's on that, which is what I love about Southwest Planner event, is that we do get a break.
Yes,
kind of.
We do.
Even though it's a mad break and we have like a crazy time, we get a break. But maybe like events like Stationery Fest or like conventions and stuff, Imagine if it was just a 10-minute.
Shoppers need a gap.
Yeah,
they do.
If it was just a 10-minute gap, where I'd be like, we're just shopping, stopping, closing the shops for 10 minutes. We
grab
can
a drink, go to the toilet,
sit down, do nothing, be like not
don't
there.
Don't composure.
And I think these are things, because I don't think people realise how common it is for people to have chronic health conditions.
So the reason a lot of people start their own businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Complete control of your schedule.
But also people that don't have it.
Yeah.
They deserve. Everyone deserves it.
We all need a break.
We've basically at Stationery Fest. We basically do a 8-9 hour shift with no break.
Yeah, and there was like set up the day before, and then also you have to pack everything down after, as well, like right after the event.
So when you really think about it like that,
it's a lot.
That's not normal.
So no one does shifts like that.
No, exactly.
In fact, it's probably illegal for Aaron working shift work. He wouldn't be allowed to do that.
So it's really hard to kind of put. Obviously, if you have someone that you can bring to these events, meaning
I'm
that.
So lucky, my mum does.
And
come with me.
I'm bad. I love my husband. However, I couldn't like.
This is your.
I have a way of doing things, and it's my way. Yeah. So
I'm the same. Mum is my helper.
Yeah.
Like, she will help me do everything, but when it comes to talking about business and being present with customers, I need to be there. I need to be.
I might. Do you know what? I might even message Becc from Stationery Fest and maybe mention it.
I don't know if she's thought about it. In terms of like asking people whether they need extra support.
Yeah. I think that'd be really interesting. So I will definitely,
because everyone needs a break. It's such a good idea. A break. We all need it. Even the people shopping need it. So because it's a long day, and it would be good to have something like that. But in terms of like, did you say like helping get through the day? Is that?
What is there something that you kind of learnt to bring next year to kind of help you?
So I think a lot of it was mindset, in terms of going into it knowing that it was going to be hard.
Yeah.
Not thinking it's going to be, oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing, which it was. But also knowing that it's going to be really hard, and accepting that I shouldn't have anything scheduled after, because I'm going to need a break. So like accepting that was the reality for me, is that if I wanted to do this event, I had to sacrifice weeks afterwards,
Yeah.
And that was really important for me. But also, I didn't use the chairs they gave. I bought stools. I have folding stools.
Okay.
So rather than sitting down right to the floor, not the floor, but sitting right down and getting up, I could perch on a stool.
Okay.
Having a care kit, paracetamol. I had stickers, plasters on my shoes in case I got blisters, or because that would impact me further. Like care kits and good shoes.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah, I had a floaty dress, so there was no pressure on my body. I had shorts underneath, so my thighs didn't rub together. Just things that made me feel so comfortable.
I love that.
So that when my body did start to hurt, because oh my gosh, did it start to hurt, I could be in my best position to deal with that.
Yeah.
And also, why am I getting emotional? I feel all tingly. My mum as well, I'm so grateful that she helps me do these things, because it's a case of, if you need to go and find a chair and lay down for 10 minutes, I've got you.
Yeah.
Just unlock your phone and I'll do it. She's like, I might not make you any sales, but I'm here if you need to take the break.
Yeah.
And just kind of implementing things that make it easier and just take that little bit of pressure off, because the reality is, it's going to be hard. You can't go in there with a chronic illness thinking it's going to be easy and a great experience, because yes, you might meet new people, and yes, it's probably great for business, but it's not great for your body.
No.
And that's just the reality.
Yeah.
But you have to, I just was ready to make sacrifices this year.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did,
yeah,
because I've met so many more people, and I feel like my business has excelled for it, but it was really hard after Stationery Fest. I really regretted it for a little while, because I felt so rubbish. And like you said, I kind of disappear off the radar.
Yeah.
I don't kind of post very often, and I also don't like to come on and repeat myself. So I might share that I'm exhausted after Stationery Fest, for example, but I'd be sharing that every day for weeks. And I just don't want to be repetitive and boring in that sense. And I know some people can relate to it, but I
help
don't
you
benefit
either.
from going on there and doing that.
I was going to say, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about let's talk about the aftermath of like events like that.
Yeah.
Is there something that you would do differently next year for the after bit?
So I think there's lots of things that I would do differently, like in the day actually. So I spent ages setting up. Right. I didn't need to. I could have gone back to the hotel and rested. But I was so kind of in my element and I was excited that I forgot that I could just do it and go.
Yeah. And
savor that energy so that it may, I mean, not saying that it wouldn't have impacted me the same, but it could have made the day a little bit easier or something like that. But in terms of my home, as soon as I'm home, I feel very relaxed. I know I'm very comfortable to just do whatever, you know, like lay on the sofa or anything like that. My after events and things, I don't actually do anything really. I've got to a point where I don't put the pressure on.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I wonder if there's things that we could do, like...
I love a bath.
I was just going to say that. That's literally what I was just going to say. Like, how mad is that? I was literally like, for me, if I could afford it, I'd probably book a little spa where someone gives me a nice massage afterwards.
I can't do that. But
you can't do that. That's what I'm saying. So if you can't do that, or if you can't afford it, the self-care is bath. Get fake candles on, get something on your laptop or read a book. Like,
baths have saved me so many times. Aaron, I'm like, I'm hurting. He's like, get in the bath, and I'm like,
but it is, and I think that's something that I will do next year, because your body, whether you have the chronic illness or not, it takes a toll on your body anyway. And like, I think if you are thinking of doing these kind of events, like we've said, they are so worth it because they're so rewarding in so many ways. But if you struggle before, during and after these events, then hopefully these kind of things will help you to implement them ready for your event, because I'm pretty sure... Sorry guys, battery died. Reality there.
Baths.
Baths, yeah. So if you're watching this, these are the things that you should implement that can help you before, during, and after these events.
And also just allowing yourself to be okay with the fact that you're going to feel rubbish.
Yeah.
Because I think we bog ourselves down too much with that.
Yeah.
It's like, frustration of like, why body? Why are you doing this to me? And it's like, this is your reality. Yeah. Work your best with it and don't bog yourself down because you can't do something. Yeah. Like, just do your best. Yeah. You know, like, it's all we can do. Yeah. So, yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to talk about before we...
I don't think so, but also I will make sure to keep up with the comments on this video as well. So if anybody wants to ask any questions or anything, then, you know, leave a comment down below, because I'm sure there's probably things that we missed or something that someone was like, oh, I wish they'd talk about that. Like, just leave it in the comments, because I'm more than happy to talk about it, even though, like I said at the beginning, it's not the forefront of my business. I started my business because of this, and especially if you're in a position of like, should I do that? Should I, you know, start my own business to look after myself? If you're kind of in that kind of limbo between like, what do I do? If you're in a position to look after yourself and do your own thing, we can talk about it. Like, I've been doing it, it'll be 6 years in January. So I'm so happy to talk about it, but I'm not sure there's anything like at the top of my head that I can think of right now.
Yeah, please, if there are any questions or anything, just let us know. We're always happy to be really open and transparent about it all. Thank you for being here. This was so much fun. Yeah. Like, it's been really nice to have guests, and this is something that I want to start bringing more to these podcasts, is guests. I'd love to do as much in person as possible. Yeah. Don't know whether sometimes they'd have to be over camera, like over like laptop or whatever. Yeah. But I will try my best to get as many of like my guests on in person. Yeah. If you're watching this, these Rebel podcasts are part of my Patreon. So my patrons get access to these podcasts a month before anyone else. And you can join my Patreon from just £3 a month and get access to these. I've now started to upload them as videos and then later on upload them as audios. Okay. Because a couple of people messaged me like, is there any chance that you could upload the audio
so, like,
as well? If they're walking, they can do it that way.
Yeah.
So and then they end up coming up a month later onto YouTube. Yeah. So, and if you have any things that you would like me to talk about in these podcasts, please don't be afraid to ask, because I'm so happy to be open and honest about anything when it comes to small business. And but yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Should we go and have some breakfast?
Yes, please.
Because I'm freaking starving, which I always am. Yeah. Oh, right. Love you guys. Oh, it sounded like I farted then, and I didn't fart. I promise. Love you.
Love you.
And yeah, we'll see you next time for another Rebels podcast. Bye, guys. Bye.